actually coordinated that pretty good. Shocking. Shockingly enough. All right. Change that angle. It's so weird. Anywho, all right. And it's not even 9:30 yet. Imagine. All right. So what did I do? I'm not cutting off my head. Oh my goodness. All right. So dogs are outside. Let's see how long that lasts. But I don't know. Can you see them on the YouTube? No, you can't. They're over in the chairs and they actually look pretty cute. Being pretty good for now. We'll see. As soon as I sit down on the mat, God knows. God knows. So today I have in mind, starting ahead of time, who would have thought, I have some balance poses in mind, and not every single thing, and in different places too. So if you don't love to stand on one foot, don't worry, we'll get some other places. And really, the key to balancing is to ground into whatever is on the floor, right? So whether that's your foot or your shoulder or your hands, we're not going to do handstands, don't worry. Although if you want to do handstands, contact me, and I've always wanted to get a class together to just do handstands and inversions, right? Those are a little scary and they can be a little bit tricky sometimes. So I don't put them in here so much, but they are really fun. So if you haven't before and you're curious, definitely give me a shout and I'll see what I can put together. So anyhow, but yeah, so whatever is on the ground, you really want to focus on connecting to that, right? Connecting to your foundation, because that, as long as that doesn't change, everything else should be okay. Should. and then engaging through your core, right? So we don't necessarily think about your belly button or below your belly button, right, having anything to do with standing on one foot. You would be amazed at the difference. Right? And we'll play with that a little bit as we go. But so those two things, whatever is your foundation, is really the thing. And in any pose, honestly, that should be the thing, right? But especially when you're balancing and then really making sure that the core is engaged. So let's go ahead and get started here. Sitting with the heels aligned to the groin as much as you can. And then making sure that you feel upright on your pelvis. So even in this position, you're not balancing, right? You don't have to worry about falling down, probably. Anyway, depending, right? But think about your pelvis being upright, balanced right and left, not leaning forward or rocking forward or back. Yeah. And then engage the belly. Lifting the pelvic floor, the lower belly is in and up. We're tall through the sides. Right? So the middle is really holding you here. But if you need your hands on your knees, feel free to do that. Or if you want to prop your bottom up so that your hips are a little higher than your knees, sometimes that makes it easier as well. Finding the alignment of your spine, trying to relax your shoulders, letting your elbows just kind of hang down by the sides of your body, regardless of where your hands end up. Closing your eyes. Taking the bottom tips of your ears back just a little bit, so you'll feel the weight of your head come over your shoulders. And if you carry your head forward a lot, it'll be a big difference. If you don't, you may not really even notice. And just allow yourself to be here. Releasing all the distractions of all the things that you have to do yet today. The craziness of your past week. And just simply being present for a moment. Bringing your focus to your breath. And again here, just being present with it. Gently begin to expand into each breath. The inhales get a little bigger, and the exhales get a little bit more complete. And eventually you'll find a breath that is just beyond comfortable. Make it challenging enough that your mind has to stay focused on keeping it here. And then attempting to keep this same kind of quiet, steady presence, regardless of whether you're simply sitting as we are here, or whether you're standing on your head. We're not going to stand on our head, but you get the idea. Just this steady, comfortable, aware presence, no matter what the body's doing. So let's go ahead and extend the arms up to the sides. With an inhale, we're going to stretch them up to the ceiling. And then exhale, bring them back down again. We'll do it again. One more like that. Inhaling, come back to the top. And then exhale, just your right hand back to the mat, giving yourself a little tip over to that right side. So stay even in the foundation. See if you can keep that left shoulder drawn back, opening the side of the body. With the inhale, making your way back up to the top again. Exhale, taking it over to the left. Same idea. Taking that nice big breath. And then coming back to the top again. So with the breath like that, take it back over to the right. See if you can slide a little bit deeper into that stretch. Inhaling, come back to the middle. And then the last time, taking it over to the left. Back to the center again. And exhale, release the arms. So let's take the right hand over to the left knee and the left hand just behind the back. Give yourself a gentle little twist over toward the left here. And just allow it to happen without thinking too much about it. Once you're there, then kind of watch and see where in your spine twisted the most easily. Do you tend to turn your head and then turn the rest of your body? Just kind of noticing where you would naturally take your twist. We're going to release that side, come back through the center over to your second side. Same idea. Just very easily finding that twist, however it sort of lands for you. Let's come back through the center. Take that first side again. This time, build it intentionally, right? So finding your foundation, lengthening your spine, pressing into that left hand, pulling against the knee a little bit. Think rotating your belly button. And then turning your side ribs. See if you can draw your left shoulder back and look over your shoulder. So a lot of times we sort of lean the upper body. See how upright you can stay, rotating around on your spine. and then releasing that. Rotate back through the center and think the same thing to the second side. So using the arms to support, rotating around from the bottom to the top. And then releasing back to the middle again. Bringing both hands to the knees here. We're going to inhale, draw the shoulder blades together on the back, let the chest lift to the ceiling. And then exhale and round the spine. Think bringing your forehead to your belly button. Inhale, lift and open the front of the body. And then exhale and round. Taking a few more flows like that in and out with your breath. And then we'll just come back to the middle, sitting up nice and tall again. So here we're going to take the fingers and interlace them behind the lower back. Drawing the shoulder blades together on your back. Think stretching your knuckles toward the floor, and you probably easily touch here. From there, hinge forward from the hip, thinking belly button to heels. Keeping the spine long. Drawing the shoulder blades toward each other and stretching the knuckles away. If the hands lift up off the lower back, they do. If they don't worry too much about that. Let's take another nice big breath. And then we'll hinge it back up again. Before you release your fingers, think about which thumb you have on top. Probably do it so naturally you don't think about it, right? And then we're going to release the hands and switch the feet. So this heel that you always put in front, bring it back. And ideally, we kind of switch that up from time to time just so that we're a little bit more even, but habit is habit, right? So go ahead and interlace your fingers behind your back again. Put the other thumb on top. Shoulder blades pull toward each other, knuckles stretch away. Same idea here, hinging forward. Keeping the arms active. And if you're a hyperextender, think a little baby bend in your elbows. And on an inhale, gently make your way back up again. Release your hands, release your legs, and extend those legs out nice and long here. And you may have to kind of wiggle them around a little bit. So the legs straight as if you're standing up, feet flexed. You can really press out through the foundations of the feet. And again, if you need to adjust on your seat so that your pelvis is upright, take that. We're going to reach the arms up and then come forward. Think belly button to thighs here, letting your hands fall where they do. So maybe you touch your toes, but it's not the important piece, right? So keeping the spine nice and long, the shoulders down and relaxed. The hands again kind of fall wherever the hands fall. And just begin to get into your hamstrings. Taking another nice big breath. And then with the next inhale, bring yourself back up again and release your arms. Let's come around onto all fours. And instead of being in tabletop, we're going to bring it into a kneeling plank here. So hands forward or knees back, however you have to make that happen. Where's your foundation? Primarily your hands and your knees, of course, right? Spread your fingers nice and wide. Feeling even on the four corners of the feet and then hands, and then push down into the floor. Not so much that you round your upper back, keeping the shoulders neutral, but really push into the hands. We talk about that with our legs a lot. See if you can make that same action with your hands. And the belly supporting, okay? From here, lifting the knees away from the floor, press through your heels, activate your legs as if you were standing up. And then go ahead and lift your hips, make your way toward down dog. And always in this first one, just let yourself move and stretch. Wiggle around a little bit. And then as you settle in again here, think pressing down into the four corners of the hands, activating the arms, pressing your chest back. Feel that nice stretch in your hamstrings, sinking the heels toward the floor. And it's great if they touch, but don't worry about that. Don't walk your feet closer just so that your heels can touch. That's not important. So then go ahead and slide yourself back into that plank. And your hands and feet belong in pretty much the same place for both of those things, right? So again, that temptation to walk the feet closer does not serve you. Lifting back into down dog. We're going to do the same thing, just shifting forward. Inhale, come to plank. And then exhale back to your down dog. In and out like that. Very, very simple. If it becomes too challenging, the knees can be on the floor. So you're at a kneeling plank and then a child's pose, right? It's the action in the shoulders, whether you're bearing more or less body weight. So take just a couple more like that, forward and back. When you're through with that last one, go ahead and drop down to the knees if you're not there already. And sit back into a child's pose. Allow your hands to be wherever you want. So if you want them extended, great. If you want them back by your heels, allow your shoulders to rest toward the floor. Make that child's pose good. It's not always the easiest thing early. Good morning, you guys. Good morning. Holler if you need anything. I try to check the comments here and there. From that child's pose, we're going to lift back to down dog. And then we'll walk the feet forward and come into a standing fold. Feet up underneath the hip bones, the toes point forward, and we press down into the four corners of the feet. We're going to walk in place to begin, so maybe bending into one knee, press through the opposite heel, and then switch back and forth like that, side to side. Raking up the legs. And then come to a center. And if you need the knees bent here, have the knees bent. We're going to take the index and middle fingers and wrap them around the big toes. Still staying rooted into the four corners, though. See if you can take your legs straighter. And if you can, lovely. If you can't, don't worry about it. Either way, though, bend your elbows out to the sides. And imagine pulling your shoulders together on your back here. You can pull against your toes and draw your belly toward your thighs a little bit more here. Find the stretch in the hamstrings. Release your toes and bend your knees as much as you need so that you get the backs of your hands flat to the floor. You might have to bend a whole bunch, right? Then coming from the tips of your toes here, pick up your right hand and slide your right foot underneath it. No, pick up your right foot and slide your right hand underneath it. And then do the same thing standing on your hands. Ta-da. So see if you can work your toes all the way to the wrist crease. And again, the knees can be ridiculously bent if that's where you need them to be. If you can take them straight, lovely. If you can bend your elbows, great. You can even kind of give another pull, right, to increase the sensation. Find your stretch. It's still very early. And then just for fun, remember, you do not have your hands to catch you, so go gentle. Lift one heel up off the floor. And then put that down. Lift your other heel up off the floor. Use your belly. And then put that back down again. So release your hands. We'll take the fingers and interlace behind the lower back again. Shoulder blades pull toward each other, knuckles stretch away, just like we did when we were seated, right? Keeping that little baby bend in the elbows, little baby bend in the knees if you're a hyperextender. And then releasing the hands. Let's slide those hands up to the thighs and come halfway up. So parallel-ish to the floor. That might be exactly where you are. You might be a little further in or out. Leaning the hands on the thighs, keeping the belly pulled in. We're going to bend into the knees and come to chair. Feeling even on your feet. That's where it starts. Tucking the tailbone, lifting the chest, hanging on for dear life if you need. Hands can come center or extend or wherever they need to be. So feeling grounded into your foundation. And if that's enough work, that's where you are. But maybe, see if you can come up on your toes. See if you can find a foundation on your toes. There's less, so it might be trickier. With an inhale, stay on your toes, stretch to the ceiling. And then release the arms and heels. All right. So just a little bit of fun. Sometimes it's wobbly, crazy. Sometimes it's like, So let's move into some sun salutes here. On an inhale, we're going to stretch the arms up. With the exhale, take it over into a fold. Inhaling, come halfway up. Exhaling, let's step the right foot back into a lunge. So nice big step back. If you want the knee down, take the knee down. Wiggle around into your hips a little bit here. And then find a center and imagine pulling the legs toward each other up underneath. The spine stays neutral. The left leg goes straighter. So if you have a block and you need to prop. If you want to come up on the shin, feel free, drop that right knee. Again, any of those variations is absolutely acceptable. If you feel like your hamstrings are already nice and long, maybe flex that left foot back. Go ahead and release the foot, bend back into the knee, and we're going to step back into our down dog. On an inhale, slide forward, come to plank. Drop the knees if you'd like. Bend the elbows tight to your sides, come down to the belly. Hands next to the side ribs, nice little roll into the shoulders. Gentle little back bend here. Keeping the elbows in, up and back to down dog. We're going to step the right foot forward. Taking your time to get your toes to your fingers. Stack the knee and ankle. Same idea, just allow yourself to rock around into the hips a little bit. And then find your center. Actively pull your legs toward each other. Take the right leg straighter. taking variations if you need, right? Prop, drop the knee, flex the foot, any little piece. Keep those shoulders drawn together on your back. And then bend back into the knee, press off the back foot, and step forward into fold. Halfway up on an inhale. Exhale back over. And then come all the way up, reaching to the ceiling. Exhaling the arms. So let's add on to that. Inhale and lift. Exhale to your fold. Halfway up. Left foot back this time into your lunge. Finding your center, sweeping the legs toward each other, belly's working here. Bring the right hand to the hip and add in a little twist. Rotating the belly, side ribs, shoulder. Press through your heel and out the crown of your head. Releasing the twist, step back to down dog. Inhale, slide forward into plank. And drop down, everything to the floor together. Hands next to the side ribs as you roll into the shoulders. Maybe pull, coming in a little bit deeper to that back bend. Up and back, down dog. And then the left foot will step forward into the fold. Working your toes up. Same idea here, stacking knee and ankle. Sweep the legs toward each other. Bring the left hand to the hip and twist. We're going to release the twist. Step forward into fold. Come halfway up and back down. All the way, reaching to the ceiling. Exhale at the top here. So let's go once more. Inhale and lift. Take it into fold. Halfway up. Right foot back again into that lunge. So you can stay on your toes or drop down to the knee. Sweep your legs toward each other and climb up on the thigh. Lifting the upper body, feeling that nice quad stretch, hip flexor, pressing through the back heel. Hang on for support. Extend the arms if you like. Relaxing the shoulders, look up, maybe. Try not to jut your chin out, keeping it tucked to the throat. We're going to release that back over into the lunge again, stepping back to down dog. Inhaling, slide forward for plank. Take it down. Roll into cobra. Pull, maybe press, coming a little deeper, keeping the elbows in, up and back, down dog. And then the right foot stepping forward. Toes all the way up there when you're ready. Climbing up. Remember your foundation. Hang on or extend the arms. And then release back over into the lunge. Stepping forward, fold. Halfway up. And back over. All the way. And exhale, release. All right, so let's take our first little balance pose, staying on one foot here. Off your mat, near a wall, wherever you need to be to feel comfortable. Middle of October, I'm dying. All right, so thinking about the foundation, right? All of the weight over into the four corners of that left foot. Stand really tall, little tuck of the tailbone, reactivate your belly, and lift the right knee. Open the knee, and you're going to feel a place where if you keep going, the pelvis has to shift, right? So for me, it's here. And then bring that foot to the inside of the left leg, anywhere but on your knee joint. So you're on your toe, at the ankle, you're at the calf. You can absolutely 100% pull that foot up and in into the inner thigh. But just avoid being on the knee, because then you press the foot and the leg into each other. Right? So as if you were standing on that right foot, or corners of the foot pressing down into your foundation. Standing nice and tall. Maybe the hands come center. You can extend, of course, here if you like, look up if you like. Find where you have just a little bit of wobble. Everybody wobbles. And if you're not trying hard enough. So let's gently bring it back in and release it. See what happens over on the second side. So find the right foot, press down into it. Use your belly and lift the left knee. Open, and again, find where the hips start to shift. And right before that, bring the left leg in. And give it a go. And if it's not for you, you can always change where that foot goes. Make it more challenging or less. Pressing down into the foundation of both feet. Make sure you press back with that right leg. Keep it strong. Hands go where the hands go. And remember, each side is a little bit different, so check it out. We're going to take one more breath. Bring it back in. And then release. So let's take a nice big step back with the right foot. Left toes point forward, right toes are cut in a little bit, depending on where this hip is. So if you find your left knee wants to slide in, right, you might have to turn your right toes more toward the top of your mat. So playing with that, bending into this left knee, watch for your big toe, stacking the knee and ankle, just like we did in that low lunge. Extending the arms for warrior two, shoulders over hips, feel your feet. Nice and even, pressing down into the floor, even here. From warrior two, take that left leg straight, reach forward over your toes, and then let that left hand fall to the shin or the thigh or wherever it is that it falls. Belly's in, shoulders are stacked. You can look up at the lifted right arm. Can you feel the four corners of your feet? Checking in with the belly. Inhaling as we hinge back up, stepping back to the top of the mat. So that same idea to your second side, big step back with the left foot. Check out your toes, and it's not always the same on each side. Okay? When you're ready, bending into the knee. Look for your big toe. Adjust your back foot if that's where it is. The pelvis is level, the shoulders are stacked over, and the arms extend. Taking the right leg straight, reaching in front of the toes, and then hinging. with the inhale, making your way back up again. And then back to the top of the mat. Maybe. So let's reach up. Take yourself over into a fold. We'll step back to down dog. And go ahead and drop on down. Take a child's pose for just a couple breaths, kind of transition your brain. Let's go ahead and lift back into down dog. From that down dog, bring the left knee up behind the left wrist. Go ahead and drop your right knee to the floor. Extend that leg long back there. And you can have your toes tucked under or that top of the foot flat to the floor, either way. And if this is enough for the knee or hip, then this is where you are. If you can open the knee out to the side a little bit and maybe bring your foot closer to your right hand, give that a go. And you wiggle until you find, again, kind of where the pelvis wants to shift in order to make it happen. And see if you can keep your pelvis level, just as it was with say, your down dog or wherever, right? So you can stay up on your hands if that's for you, or you can drop down to the forearms. You can drop all the way down to the floor. You can rest your forehead on a block, stacked fists. And even here, finding the balance, right? So if you let go and get saggy, you could rock to one side or the other. See if you can stay centered, right in the middle. Take another big breath. Let's work back up onto the hands. And imagine pulling your legs together here. If it's a little intense for your front leg, you can cut it back a little bit because we're going to be here for just a little bit longer. Okay. So what would happen if you bent the right knee, lifting the toes away from the floor? Can you take that right hand back to find your right foot? So yeah, notice how it's easier to let that right hip drop back. Bring it forward again. Once you have the foot. Hang on to the foot, kick it back. It sort of lifts you up a little bit, right? If you keep the pelvis square and the more vertical you are, the less you need the left hand. And maybe then the left hand can find your foot as well. We'll take another big breath. And then gently release. Make your way back to down dog. Take your time, wiggle and stretch. And then we're going to switch. So bring the right knee up behind the right wrist. Stretch the left leg back. And again, it's a preference thing if you want to keep your toes tucked under or your foot flat to the floor. See if you can open the knee to the right, bring the toes forward. See what happens over here. And it's probably a little different. Normal. Find your center, squaring the pelvis, and then deciding if you want to stay up on your hands or drop down to wherever you drop down. Same idea. Take a moment. Is this the right place for me? Can I add on? We'll make our way back up onto the hands. And again, adjust the front leg if it's too intense, if you went a little hard, right? So bending the left knee, and then maybe the left hand finds the foot. So you can absolutely just kind of hang out here, give yourself a bigger quad stretch, pulling the heel toward the hip, but working balance. Make sure your belly's working so the pelvis is level. And then the more upright you come, the less you need the right hand. Maybe the right hand finds the foot. Or you can extend toward the ceiling. There's nothing magic about that foot back there. The idea is to balance here. Let's release it. Gently making your way back to your down dog again. Dropping down to the knees, give yourself a child's pose one more time. And then we'll make our way back to down dog again. Stepping the feet forward, let's come to standing fold. Go ahead and take a little bend in the knees here with an inhale. Roll all the way up. Coming to stand. So we're going to maybe build on to that tree that we are standing balance from before. So if that was intense enough and that's where you want to practice, feel free. Let's see if maybe we can switch it up a little bit. So we're going to take all the weight over into the left foot again. Lifting the right knee, open at the knee. You can absolutely come to the inside. Flex your foot. See if you can bring that foot on top of, above the knee. And just so that the foot is hanging off the left side. Right? So ideally your toes are pointing at the floor and your knee is pointing at the floor. Press the ankle into the thigh, just like we did the foot into the leg. Okay? Press down into that left foot. Stand really tall, activate your belly. Staying upright, so you can extend the arms if that's for you. Or maybe bend into the knee and come into this chair type variation. Watch the pelvis. Keeping the belly engaged, the spine nice and tall. So then if you want to play from there, hands are at center, hinge forward, and see if you can bring your right elbow toward your right knee and your left elbow toward your ankle. All kinds of fancy stuff. You can reach down and touch the floor. You can take the legs straight. Again, bumping it up just enough that it's a challenge for you. Take one more breath. Gently coming back up to center. And then release what you got. So again, we kind of start at the beginning and then we add on. Is that enough yet? Because there's always something else to add on. So don't worry about getting to the thing, right? All the weight right. Standing nice and tall, lift the left. Open at the knee and decide for a moment, does it need to go on the inside of the leg or can it come in front of? Press down into the right foot, pull the legs toward each other, grounding into your foundations here. The hands come center, maybe extend. Maybe we come into chair. Hinging forward, taking the legs straight, all the other bells and whistles, if that's where you are. Thinking about the foundation in your pelvis, and everything else just kind of happens, right? Let's take one more breath. Hinging back up to center again here. and then releasing it. So let's stretch up and then fold forward. Stepping back to down dog. Let's drop on down into our child's pose. And you can always stay in child's pose longer or take down dog instead if that's not what you need. Big, nice, full breaths. And then let's come to sit up on the heels. So here, we're going to be up on the tops of the knees. So if you need some extra cushion under your knees, absolutely give yourself some extra cushion. When you're ready, come up to the tops. Let's step the left foot forward. You can have the back foot flat to the floor, or you can tuck your toes up under, just like for our pigeon pose, right? Hug your legs toward each other. It's all in the pelvis. Ground into that left foot, feeling the hips stacked over that right knee. And again, cushion as much as you need to cushion. If this is enough work for the balance, you don't have to add anything. Maybe take the right hand back toward the right heel. So just like with pigeon, it's easier if this right hip drops back, yeah? Once you found it, square it back up again. Thinking about the foundation, your belly, tuck your tailbone a little bit if you're feeling anything in your lower back. And if you still feel it, come out. This left arm can extend. As if your fingers were interlaced behind your back, draw your shoulder blades together on your back. Lift your chest. Maybe looking up, but keeping the chin tucked toward the throat. Those smooth, easy breaths as you sit when you were sitting at the very beginning of class. They're happening, right? Ish. Gently roll over to your right here to come back up to the top. Release the left foot. And then we'll switch. So step the right foot forward. Take your time building your pose. If you're really, really wobbly for a second, stop, right? Find that foundation, find your center, find your balance, and then maybe add on. So pressing down into the right foot, keeping the pelvis square, that lower belly working. How about the left hand finding the heel? If you do need to sort of shift the pelvis, just shift it back. And then bring that to your foundation. Reaching the right arm if that's you. Dropping the shoulder a little bit. Pulling those shoulder blades together to open the chest. And make your way toward this little back bend. Or big back bend, depending on where you are. Let's roll to the left. Gently make your way back up to the top. Stepping the right foot back. Go ahead and sit back on your heels for just a moment. And then we're going to make our way into one last down dog. Stretch the spine. Engage the arms. Dropping down to the knees. Let's bring the legs around front. And then scooting forward if you're far back on your mat, because we'll roll back in a second here. Let's go ahead and bring the soles of the feet together. Hanging onto the ankles as you draw the heels in toward the groin, sitting nice and tall. The chest is lifted, using the elbows at the inner hips here to press down a little bit. Not the knee, the hip, right? hinging forward, belly button to heels. And then hang on, hinge up, keep going and balance. So last little place. The belly is working. And then move round through the spine and drop on down to the back. You do not have to turn around. That's just me. So the soles of the feet are going to stay together. Drop onto the floor. Release your knees to the sides. And then draw the knees together. So of course here you do not have to worry about falling down, but you still want to pay attention to your foundation. Right? So setting the spine in that aligned position, lower back up off the floor, the back of the neck isn't pressing down, the shoulders and hips feel even and level. We want to keep that as we cross the left ankle over the right knee. So this should look pretty familiar. Right? We're going to reach behind the right thigh here and draw that leg in toward the chest. You may notice that your spine kind of rounds up, that lower back maybe presses down into the floor, or your shoulders roll up and away. Noticing if that happens, but keep drawing in. You can use the elbow to press the leg away a little bit for more sensation in that hip if you like. And we want to keep the arms drawing toward the body, but then use the leg to push back away. And as you do, see if you can find the neutral foundation of your spine again. So your shoulders are back. That lower back isn't pressing down into the floor. Your hips and shoulders feel level. Let's release it, taking the feet flat to the floor. Check in if you feel a little crooked, make it right. And then the right ankle over the left knee, and we pull in. Noticing how the backside changes. Keeping the arms pulling toward the body as you start to press the leg back into the hands, finding that neutral spine again. Let's release, taking the feet flat to the floor. And then let's draw the knees into the chest and just allow yourself to rock a little bit. So whether up and down, side to side, circles with the knees. And then keeping the knees into the chest here, go ahead and open your arms out into a T position. We're just going to drop the legs over to the right. And if you feel like you need a different variation of this last twist, feel free. Remember, you can work more or less. Taking just a couple more breaths over on this side. And then we'll gently bring it back up to center again. Hugging the knees into the chest again here, and then dropping the legs over to the left. And of course, same idea. If you feel as if you need a different variation, change it. We got just a couple more breaths on this side. And then we'll bring it back to the middle again. Knees into the chest, allowing yourself to rock. And then squeeze in. Pulling the knees in as close to the chest as you can, drawing your forehead towards your knees. And then releasing it out into a full body stretch. Releasing the stretch and making your way toward whatever is going to be Shavasana. So whether the legs are fully extended or your feet are flat to the floor. If you have props, use them. If you want to take legs up the wall, you're at home and you can put your feet on your walls. Wherever you are, find alignment and comfort. And then release the muscles. Coming back solely to the breath again here. Release control of your breath. But see if you can keep the mind in that same quiet, present place. Spending just a few moments here, allowing yourself to rest. Slowly drawing a deep cleansing breath, and then let that all go. Starting small, return movement to the body, wiggling, stretching. When you're ready, taking the feet flat, gently rolling yourself to the side, slowly making your way back up to seated. Bringing the palms to touch. Bowing to the light within. Namaste. Thanks for playing with me this weekend, you guys. I hope you enjoyed that. Hopefully it was just as challenging as you needed it to be. And remember, you can get that no matter where you are, who you're practicing with. You always make your class yours. The instructor could be telling you something that your body just says no to, right? So you make it yours because that's yoga, right? So enjoy your weekend. It looks like it may turn out to be pretty decent here. Hopefully the same for you guys wherever you are. Have a great weekend. Bye. Thanks, you guys.